When you find a real estate platform that aligns everyone in the entire company financially by making us real estate agents owners, so when the average agent wins, everyone wins, that's the secret to success. And when you surround yourself with like-minded entrepreneurial people who absolutely love what they do, they love serving people, they love God and life, and you put yourself in an environment of high energy, high producing, positive people every day, you can't help but succeed in business and life. We are changing the real estate industry and changing real estate agents' lives. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Financial Freedom Forever podcast. I'm excited today to be interviewing Bill Lowery. He's from Akron, Ohio, a real estate agent for 15 years, in the commercial space for a while, now in residential. But he's a solo agent selling 50 homes plus per year for the last 10 years. So thanks and welcome to our Financial Freedom Forever podcast today, Bill.
I appreciate you having me, Andre. Glad to be here.
Yeah, so I'm looking forward to kind of hearing your story because we just really met today. I've seen your face on our influencer groups that we belong to. Listening to the leaders of the company and what's going on, and just knew that you're a pretty big producer. So I thought I'd have you on here. So looking forward to kind of hear your story. Tell us a little bit more about your personal and business life.
Sure. Well, I went to college at Ohio State, and during that time, I thought I was going to be a computer science engineer and just work with computers. And I had one computer program that I was trying to write, and I'm just not perfect enough, I guess, to work with computers. So at that point, I realized I need to work with people. And after you graduate college and you don't know what to do, the Peace Corps seemed like a great option. So I joined the Peace Corps, served in Costa Rica for a couple of years, and did small business development there. So taught people how to create websites. I went over, did business planning, and just met some amazing people, including my wife, girlfriend at the time, but now wife. And then, when you're done with the Peace Corps, I still didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. So I was probably, 26 years old, came back to my hometown of Akron, Ohio. And I really just started following my dad and some of the community leaders around to do informational interviews, anybody that would take time to sit down with me. This was end of 2007, early 2008, and the job market was not so great. But fortunately, I met John Mogan, who owned Mogan Real Estate, a very small commercial brokerage, and he asked me if I'd ever thought about a career in real estate, specifically in commercial real estate, and he kind of showed me the way. And I said, why'd you ask me to do this? And he said, well, he knew a lot about the Peace Corps. His wife was a high school teacher, and their family really knew a lot about it. And he said, I know that you were unsupervised for over 2 years. You're basically one person in a town working, with the community, and to be able to make it that 2 years with nobody watching you. There's a lot of similarity in real estate. Nobody really cares about your success. It's all up to you. And I don't want to say that necessarily about the Peace Corps, right. But if you just don't want to do anything, nobody's really watching you. So, did that for a couple of years with John Mogan, selling just commercial real estate. It's a tough business to get started in, just like residential as well. Right. 2008, things were a little competitive for the few properties that we're selling. So 2010, I made a change to a company that I was able to do residential and commercial real estate, and was there for about 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, for me, it's always like, what's that next step? So, I'm like, okay, 2017 comes around, got my broker's license, which is required in Ohio to be able to start or own your own company. Right. So I thought that's the natural progression. Looked into buying companies, looked into franchise models, looked into starting just a small boutique brokerage. And I kicked the tires on that for almost 3 years. But one brokerage that I was watching very closely and admiring from across the country was Chuck and Angela Fazio's brokerage, Revelation Real Estate. And when they made the move in March of 2020 with over 900 agents, I believe, I said, if it doesn't make sense for them to be on their own,
right,
who's Bill Lowery? What am I doing here? Because I looked at the EXP model. It seemed really interesting to me, but when I looked at it just from afar, I'm like, this is it seemed like a very expensive, discounted, bare bones real estate company. And I just never really got introduced properly to it. And I just looked online and like, this doesn't make sense. My deal's pretty good over here with my 95-5 split and paying $1 million a year for this, that, and the other. So it took me some time to come around to that. And nobody really reached out to me in a direct way
right
about it. So when I made my own decision that I was coming, I started searching for a sponsor. I looked in the MLS at the top producers. I chose the person that I liked the most. I called her and she said, very confidently, I've been waiting for your call, even though we had never spoken on the phone before.
That's cool. That's very interesting. That's a new story, because most people I've heard, a friend or someone's reaching out to them because they're excited about EXP and want to share it with their friend. But I got a close story too, because no one reached out to me about EXP as well. I was looking to make a change from being a coach to getting back into the industry again, and I reached out to someone that I had heard had moved over to EXP. So that's pretty cool. We got the same story as far as that goes.
Yeah, and I still see that happening. It's attraction by production and being, people like to be around successful people. And I didn't come over here to only build a revenue share organization. I intended to continue my real estate business as well.
That's right. That's awesome. Yeah. I mean, I think it's 88% of the company, agents in the company, they're just focused on production and building their business, right? Just like yourself. So one interesting thing that you said you were watching Chuck and Angela Fazio. I know they had a huge team, like you said, of 900 agents. And you said if it didn't make sense for them to be on their own, then why would I start my own brokerage? And I don't know if it didn't make sense, because there's a lot of people that it is good for them to be other independent brokers. That's what everyone's dream is. Like you said, we were thinking of, you start off as a single agent, and then you figure out how to start leveraging and scale, and normally start a team, most people, or start their own independent company. I did the same, partner up with my partner and started a brokerage, but I guess they just did their due diligence and figured out it was just better for, not just for them, but even for their agents, how they could scale their business, not just be in, one little place in Arizona. And I know they've built an incredible business, and are now in multiple states and countries. And now their agents are owners, right? Their agents were never owners before. So, that's pretty cool. But let's talk about, you're looking about the production. How are you doing 50 transactions a year as a solo agent? Give our listeners some golden nuggets of what you're doing.
Yeah, I did build things the slow way, but to me, it has carried some sustainability and made life relatively easy as far as being a real estate agent and kind of knowing what your next year is going to look like. Without having to start all over. And I really, when I look at my clients and my customers, a lot of it has to do with me being involved in the community in different ways. And honestly, every time I get involved with something, I try to do it at a high level. I'm not just, going to the food bank once a quarter to pack groceries. I've been on boards, and I've been on, hands-on as well. I led the fundraising campaign for our $15 million local United Way for 2 years in a row during COVID. So I was the volunteer that was, leading a group of volunteers, but out there, meeting with CEOs and people in the community to ask them for money, but also for their employees to get involved with a campaign. So spent 7 years on the United Way board, and that is just, was something that I love doing, and it gave me energy. If all I did every day was just sell houses, I get bored. I need to have another layer of challenges in my life. So it really, when the new agents come into the business, I try to ask them, think about your last 2 acquired close friends. You know, the two friends that you hang out with or talk to once a week or a month that you weren't friends with in high school. And how did you meet those people? You're probably doing something that you love doing, to build that relationship, because you're happy and you're open when you're doing something that you love doing. So I encourage people to do that. I know that's not the fast way to get business right this second today. And I know but you can do more than one thing. You know, you got to have different levers to pull. But for me, it's fun. I've made some great friends, and it has really, paid dividends,
Oh, that's
not
awesome.
right away, but over time.
Yeah, giving back, giving back to the community, getting really involved. You're doing it for the right reasons, for your heart, obviously, to give back and be involved. But yeah, it's going to definitely pay dividends, because you're going to meet a lot of people and see that you're a giver. And most people want to, they want their real estate agent to be a giver as well. So congratulations on that. That's really good advice. I just want to say thanks for all our listeners that jumped on here: Robert and Bill, Tammy, Linda, Jack, Rena. If any of you guys have any questions for Bill, please put them in the chat, and we'll go ahead and we'll ask them. And definitely share this, out there on Facebook, and share it with your friends, so we can give some love to Bill and thank him for joining today. But next question I had for you, Bill, was, what made you take a look at that at EXP? What were the top 2 or 3 things? Because at first you said, didn't look like it was going to be a great fit. What changed your mind?
I thank Chuck when I saw him for the first time, personally. I had been watching him so closely that I never met him, never spoke with him, but there was just some level of trust there. And COVID hit March of 2020. I moved in July of 2020. So I did realize that I could work from home. I didn't need to be in an office. However, you might see that I am in an office. I'm not in my home. There are, 4 or 5 key partners that I have in this physical office. There's a misconception that we don't have offices at EXP. This office is leased to me personally, not to EXP. However, I have 4 other icon level agents that are in this office with me, and we are people that like to be in an office. Most of us have young children. I have a 6 and 8 year old, and but for me, it's just the routine is good for me to be in a physical office, and it's worth the expense to me. EXP is not paying for this office.
Right.
It's a relatively minor expense when you think about the different levels of income that I get from being here at EXP, and also just being a real estate agent in general.
That's awesome. So you share the office with other EXP agents, or are they other agents from different companies? Or
everyone in the office, it's an official EXP office. It's registered
Okay.
with the MLS and everything. So everyone in here is an EXP agent. And basically people that are part of our group are able to, use pop-in space
Nice.
with no cost, but we do lease out individual offices to other agents. So we all kind of share the cost, share the expense.
That's
and
awesome.
It's worked out really well.
So if you're anywhere near Akron, Ohio, and EXP looking for some space, Bill's number's there. Reach out to him. Maybe you guys can work something out.
Absolutely.
So awesome. Now,
yeah, it's built a nice culture. You got, I'm on Zooms quite often. That's how we met for the first time, Andre. And but we still have that physical presence. We have a monthly meeting that's held by Jackie Bowman, who has a larger group in our area. That's on the last Tuesday of every month. So we get about 40 plus agents to show up to a physical office meeting once a month.
That's huge.
That's a lot more than we saw that I see at most companies.
Yeah.
And you can tell by looking at their parking lots.
That's right. Yeah. I love Jackie. She's a great human being. Met her, I don't know, at one of the events, I think probably in Mexico, Cabo, I think the first time, but I like Jackie a lot. Now I know you're a 2-time icon agent, going to be, you said, a couple deals away from a 3-time icon agent. Explain to our listeners what that means to you.
Yeah. It's just, it is a reason why the spreadsheet really made sense when I was comparing the financial models of where I was and and where I am. Because I looked back, I think I would have icon for the past 8 to 10 years before I came here.
Okay.
So, to me, that means getting my cap, my up to $16,000 that I pay into EXP back in the form of stock, and just another thing, just a way to give back. I have the trophies. They're not, that's not what's exciting to me. Honestly, the money is what was exciting to me, and everyone has their own reason. Of course, we like recognition and access, at our 2 conferences. They have exclusive icon, meetings and things of that nature, but it was financial, it's just, it is great icing on the cake of an already strong financial model.
Yeah, I mean, if you're doing 25 or 30 transactions or more, whatever company people are at, they get a trophy, maybe a gift certificate out to dinner or something. But I don't know any company that's given up to $16,000 back in shares of ownership of the company. So, hey, if you're going to be at a company working your tail off, and you are working your tail off, if you're doing 25, 30 plus deals a year as a solo agent, why not get ownership and benefit for building a company that you're at, right? So kudos to you for doing that.
Yeah, and I think that we're in an industry that is very big on vanity metrics. I sold this many houses, and then you actually talk to them about what's left at the end of the day, what their savings plan looks like, what their retirement looks like. So for a lot of people, it is a nice forced savings that's just there. Hopefully they set it and forget it, but profitability has always been, my product. I'm in it to make money. I love the job. I love serving people, but I'm not in it to sell 1,000 houses a year. I don't need to have $100 million in sales to be able to live a debt-free lifestyle in Akron, Ohio.
Right.
It's a great business, and I appreciate all my clients, but to me, it is about keeping money. It's not about, I spent $10,000 on Zillow this month and I received $11,000 in commission. I have zero interest.
Well, net income is important. I mean, everybody, 99.9% of human beings, they go to work to earn income. Otherwise, they would, if they didn't need to earn income to support their families, they probably wouldn't go to work. They would volunteer and do more community service, that kind of thing, maybe. But at the bottom line, we're going to work to financially take care of our families, right?
And I struggle with that a little bit. When I was trying to decide back to my original story, what I was going to be when I grew up. But John Mogan, who has since passed away, was just such a great mentor. And, he was a community leader. He was on many nonprofit boards. And he said, Bill, every nonprofit board that I'm on, the one thing they really, really, really want is some money. And if you're just an employee out there doing this, like they want your money, they want your time. And being in real estate, we have the ability to pick and choose where we spend that time. We're not beholden to, a supervisor. And so, yeah, it's that's what I love about this industry is that ability and the income.
Yeah. Now, I know you said that you moved over to EXP just for to sell more houses and get help and just sell more homes. You weren't interested in the agent attraction recruiting side, but you also told me you have over 35 people in your group. How did that happen?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I had some interest in it, but for me, when I came over, I really needed to make sure that I was completely bought in before I went out and be able to sell it to friends, right? So some of those agents, the company that I was with, did end up going to. It was a smaller independent firm that ended up going to a franchise. So some people, that was a decision moment, and I was one of the recent leaders of that company that had left. So there was some attrition there. But many people are, similar to our story, Andre, of us choosing our sponsor. Hey, I'm moving over to EXP, and I did a deal with you, and I respect you. And it's since I've come over, it's become a bit more competitive, I guess you would say, because in Ohio, I think we had maybe 400 agents at EXP total when I joined, which was just a little over 2 years ago. And I think we're in the 1,600 range. We have about 700 just in our MLS. So yeah, there are more options of people, but I think I see that as a good thing. We're getting more visibility and even higher level agents that they see our success and they're not afraid. We don't look like a startup like we might have right before I joined in our market. It's recognized.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I got plugged in about 4 years ago, we had 16,000 agents, and I know we're over 87,000 now. So it's been pretty incredible growth for sure.
Yeah, but that, I think Chuck, going back to him again, but I think he says this well with agent attraction and with building a revenue share organization, is that you get to do a lot of what was drawing me to consider opening a brokerage without the negative side of that. So I love, getting the call from a new agent where I can actually provide, good advice from my experience and, not legal advice, but a transactional advice or, working on their business growth and things of that nature. So being that mentor and that additional person layer of people to, of support for those agents. And I get some income from that with their success. However, if they call and they are talking about a legal problem, it's not something that I'm going to be handling. So the stress level and it's just, I don't know that side. I can just imagine that it would be very stressful at times. And I take things a little bit personal, and I think I would lose sleep over, transactional problems or, if one of my agents did something wrong and there was a pending lawsuit, I just know that even though you have the insurance and everything, it's just something I would just dwell on that and focus on that.
Yeah, that's a big thing. When you're a broker owner, you have all the liability, all the expense, and it can weigh heavily on you. I mean, when I was an independent associate broker there with my partner, I think I got sued like 3 times for just frivolous things. I mean, absolutely. A boundary line, and I never ended up to anything, but it's still time and energy going in front of the board, going in front of things. Yeah. So when I left coaching and was looking at, what real estate company that I should get plugged into, I was the same way. I was thinking of, possibly starting my own independent again, but I remembered, the liability and the headaches and the high expense. And when I looked at this model, man, you can have your cake and eat it too, right? You get to keep your branding. You get to do things your way as long as they're legal and ethical. EXP never bothers you, but you get to lay your name, your foundation, everything that you've built, and just lay on top of the EXP Global platform. And they have all the operations, all the operation stuff that's not fun is all taken care of. So you as the agent can just do more of what you love, sell houses, train your people, whatever it might be. So that's a big perk for sure. So I know one of the things we talked about before was leveraging others, without hiring. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I've gone through the process of thinking, okay, I gotta have a team. I gotta have an admin person. I need to have a buyer's agent. And when it comes down to it, especially at EXP with the way, and I know other companies are the same way, the way that we are able to communicate very easily with everyone in our company, including our almost 700 agents in our MLS. I'd rather have 700 potential buyer's agents to go out and show a house for me than one person that might be on vacation. Or what if I have 4 buyers that want to see houses in the same at the same time? So I've always wanted to protect my schedule, my family's schedule as well, so I can use them in those instances. But what I personally do is I don't necessarily throw out opportunities to all 700. There's obviously my
Sure.
smaller group that I'll reach out to, and we use a service called Workplace, which is a product of Facebook that I can literally text or message or call all 87,000 people that you just mentioned immediately. They can see who's calling and they are texting, and they probably trust it because it is a fellow agent and we're all working on building this thing together. But I've just always been a fan of paying hourly for work like that, and I having a bigger group, a bigger available labor pool has been a great advantage. You know, you don't have to worry about somebody being on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't preach that I do things all the right way, because none of us do, but I'm involved. If my buyer's agent goes and shows a house and they want to write an offer, I'm either writing it, or I will have someone who I've trained to write offers, an agent maybe that I brought into the company, get that going for me. Maybe I'll quickly review it on my phone. So I am involved with it, and I'm not passing off agency necessarily. I'm just, having someone else open the door. However, I show houses too. I don't. That's not my situation.
Yeah.
So
It was like having a team without having the liability and the training and the things that all go with having a personal team, but have the all a lot of the bonuses and benefits of it because of how the platform is set up. That's good. That's good leverage.
yeah, it's been great, and the profitability. Even if you're paying $30 to $40 an hour for someone, depending on what they're doing, it's a lot cheaper than 50% of a closed transaction. So,
Right.
when I do my tax return at the end of the year, my percentage of profitability versus what I bring in is always well north of 80%, because of the things that I do and the way that I'm acquiring my business.
Yeah, that's cool. So if you have someone go show the property for you, you pay them by the hour. If the buyer does want to put an offer on that property, is that when you take over, or
I do. Yeah, they don't necessarily have, I try to, if I have a buyer that's working in a certain area, I will try to send the same agent every time to meet with them whenever I cannot be there. However, that agent is not there, they're writing the offer. It's me.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And I think my background in compute, it doesn't take that long. I can write an offer in 6 minutes. I can handle that. And I know, if there's any mistakes on it, there's no one to blame except for myself, which I also like that.
Now, I know you said you have some great strategies in keeping in touch with all your people in a genuine way. What's that strategy?
Well, one of my most successful things that I ever did, we're all looking at all these CRMs, and we as real estate agents, we're suckers. We want to spend as much money as we can for the easy solution to get things done. And I was in that same boat, and I was looking at the price of the CRM that I really, really wanted. And I said, you know what? The problem might be in the mirror. If I can't do this on a more dumbed down, a simple basis, then it's not a technology issue. So one of my favorite things I did, and I did this for a year, and it led to one of my best years ever, was I had a spreadsheet with my 250 to 300 people that were, my A's. Maybe I hadn't transacted with them, but these are people that I want to, have in my life, and that are going to lead to business. And I had a simple Google sheet, spreadsheet, and the most important column on that was date last contacted. And I put some notes in there, but nothing crazy, nothing like, oh, their birthday and their kids. It's like, no, I should try to remember some of this stuff and actually build a relationship with these people. And I just reverse sort by last contacted, and I made a commitment to reach out to. It started with 3. I think I went up to 5, but the 3 the most distant contacts, so the furthest date away. And this was Monday through Friday. And I also made a commitment, if I don't reach out to my top 3 on there, they get deleted from that list. So they don't belong in there. Like, it's not, and if I end up with 0 people, you know where the problem is, right? And that just sticking to that strategy made a heck of a difference in my business. And I never reached out to them to talk about real estate. Maybe I reached out to them and just said, hey, if they've been in their house for a month, just check in and make sure everything's okay with that. But just saying hi, or if you saw something that they posted about on Facebook, just saying
genuine relationships. Building genuine relationships. Yeah,
it's simple. I think it's just saying hi. And another thing I do, and this is, well, I guess after that spreadsheet was done, and unfortunately this is no longer available. But there was a CRM that I'm an Android user, and everyone hates that. But because of that, I gave it the ability to monitor everything that happened on my phone, and it would do all the reverse sorting for me. But unfortunately, that's no longer available. But finding a way to keep that list going. I use KV Core now, and one integration that I really like in there is that for Christmas cards, for instance, I can just go in there and type in hashtag Xmas, and I can press print, and I'm going to have, or send my spreadsheet. It's all ready to go. I just keep it updated. But with that, in integration with my phone, is if I pull out Google Maps on there and I'm in a place that I don't always go, I can see every client that I've sold a house to on my map.
That's cool.
If I sold a house to you, I don't need to type in your address to drive to your house. I can type in your name and I'll go to your house. So oftentimes, if I physically drive by, maybe something changed about the outside of their house, and you say, hey, I love the front porch or anything like that. But most of the time it's just, I was in your area and I thought of you, hope everything is well. And that's it. Nothing more. Oh my gosh, I can't believe you just reached out to me. My sister's moving into town from such and such. I don't know why I didn't give her your number. Here's her number. Call her right now.
Right.
It's amazing. And I have a past client. He hates Ohio. He says he's never coming back, lives in Chicago. And I said, why am I reaching out to this guy? I like the guy. And a similar situation happened, just like I said. Oh yeah, we love it here in Chicago. Like, my sister's moving back home. It was a friend from high school, and it turned into a transaction. So you just you never know. And there are people that, if I text them, like, and they call me, like, I want to chat with them. I just want to, they know that I sell real estate.
Right.
Many of them are past clients, but
where do you see your business in the next 5 years, Bill?
I'm not trying to triple my business by any means. I think I live a really good lifestyle with what I have going on. It's gotten a little bit easier every year. Our market is slowing down, like many areas. I think we're down like 30% year over year as far as the quantity of homes that are selling, not the price point. But I'm not too worried about it. Things seem to be relatively steady for me. And I'm okay with that. I want to continue to grow my revenue share organization. I love trying to help people accomplish what I have done and built. And I'm not very good at goal setting. And back to Jackie Bowman, she's big into goal setting. She's always trying to get me to set a goal. My goal is just to continue working to not do things that I don't want to do. If I don't want to work with I want to be in a position where a lot of times we have that one client that we really don't want to have. I want to be in the position that I'm not too worried about that client, and I could maybe pass them along to somebody who's a better personality match, or someone that's a bit more hungry. So revenue share opportunity is huge. Unfortunately, I'm building it the same way that I built my real estate business, which is slower and steady. And it is relationship driven, so I'm not out there cold calling people. I really do enjoy it. I am excited when I get experienced agents, but I'm really even more excited when I get newer agents that come in here and plug in completely. And all of a sudden I know that they're going to be millionaires based on, what they're doing and the actions that they're taking. That's exciting to me.
Yeah. Now we're changing people's lives. I mean, the real estate business is tough. You gotta put the time and effort into it. But if you're hungry and you're willing to put the time and effort, and you have a good mentor or somebody that's there and available for you, or like in our case, there's 7 people in our network above us that all get paid by the company to help us grow. It's an unbelievable feeling when you can help change, someone's life and help them get to reaching their goals, whatever those goals might be. Maybe go from 10 deals to 50 deals or more a year. It may be they're already doing 100 deals, but they don't have any time. They don't have any time freedom or location freedom. And that's what I really enjoy every day, is just helping others, reach their goals, no matter what that is. And the company pays us very well to help them.
Yeah. Another thing, going back to staying in touch, um, how did you meet this group of friends or past clients is important. One example I have is that, a young professional group that I was involved with. I'm still involved as like an alumni person. I'm not a young professional anymore. But I went. A sponsorship opportunity came up for their annual event. Their anniversary event. And I did a sponsorship, and I'm like, okay, I'll get a table. And I said, who am I going to fill this table up with? And I went through like the directory of that young professional organization. And I said, I'm going to send a text message or email to every single person that has either referred me a couple times or bought a house with me out of that group. And I should know what that number is, but I did fill a 24 seat, 3 tables. So 24 total seats from just that organization. And I was involved in that and a board member. I probably sold 1 house to people in that group in my 4 years that I was really, really involved. But I built some really, really good friendships, and they've obviously things have lasted. It can take time if you're doing it, in the slow way, that the genuine way that I see it, the way that when I show up to a listing presentation, I do bring my big old binder and, the old school way of doing it, but I'm probably going to get the listing because we've been in business for a long time. We have a relationship. So
that's awesome. Just a couple more questions. What would you say to a real estate agent out there that's comfortable? They're happy where they currently are, not looking to make a move, but what's changed and how your business has been able to grow because of the model. What would you say to someone like that?
Well, it's going to be different, as for every single person.
Sure.
What's important to them? Is it community? Is it, when I went to the first EXPCon in Vegas that I attended, I'm like, wow, this company is huge. I came from a company that had 200 people, and there was probably 200 people in the swimming pool at the after party on the final evening with DJ Jazzy Jeff. So there's community, that community is there in that way, and others. And we do a great job in our market of having, building that community. So honestly, the answer is going to be so different for every single person, but finding a way to show them that. A lot of people, the math is not that important to them. I've done a lot of spreadsheets for people that I believe are completely accurate and seem like, oh my gosh, they're moving. Like, there's no doubt they've got to come over. They've got to do this, and if they show their spouse this and they don't move over, they're probably getting divorced. That kind of black and white. But relationships matter and community matter,
Yeah.
and so it is different. I do think that many of the brokerages are led by strong individuals that at one point had to make the same decision that the agents that we talk with are making about switching a brokerage or changing an opportunity, and thinking about what would that person do if they were in your shoes and they had that opportunity. A lot of times they would have taken that leap. If you think about that, because it's tough. I was with the same brokerage for 10 years and love the guy. Like, it was a great fit. But, after 10 years, I wanted something different. And then I, did the math, and the math was there. And to me, that was important to give it a try. Most brokerages are going to take you back if you move over, and it's not what you thought it was. But grass isn't always greener on the other side. I think someone said that in one of our calls in the last couple of weeks. Grass is greener when you water it. So switching brokerages is probably not going to be the solution to blow up your business. It could be, but it's more likely that happens because you got a new level of energy, or maybe you are surrounding yourself with the wrong people where you are. However, you could do it. You can do it anywhere. If you can do it here, you can do it there. You can do it anywhere. So the different levels of opportunity we have here. I do not want to be 80 years old selling houses. I don't think I want to. Maybe I will just absolutely love it at that time. So just the diversified levels of income here are great. I've owned rental properties in the past, still have one, but that I don't see that as being my future. It's just not the best fit for me. So I don't know if that answered the question. It's so individual.
Yeah, you answered, but just asking them questions and finding out what's the rock in their shoe, what do they really want with their business and their life, and once you know that, then you can point them in the right direction if it is a good fit. And like you said, it's not a good fit for everyone. But what you mentioned about surrounding yourself with other like-minded people, I love surrounding myself with people that are doing 10, 20, 30 times more than me and you put together, because they really stretch you. They stretch you to the next level. And I know we have agents doing 1,700. I don't know if that's the max, but I know there's at least a few people doing 1,200, 1,700 transactions in a year on the sales side. Of course, they have a team. I know people like yourself doing 50, 100 transactions by themselves. Solo agents just leveraging different things and systems that we have. And then I know agents that have built incredible organizations in some of them, most 50 states and other in other countries that they've been able to leverage. So it's all in what each individual person is looking to do for their family. But it sounds like for you, the big factor was doing the math and saving the amount of income, saving on the expenses, or was it more of the opportunity of the multiple streams of income for you?
For me, at first it was saving. Everything was exciting about it, about the opportunity. I watched Brent Go's video 3 or 4 times. I got into that trance where you just can't stop thinking about it. But to me, I said, okay, this is an X amount, thousands of dollars. If I can either make $20,000 more if I sell the same amount of houses I did, or I can, maybe even better, just sell 5, 6 less houses. Either way, and I made a couple phone calls. I usually tell people this story. One to a past client who I did not have a good relationship with, not a bad relationship, but it was a kind of a random listing. It wasn't my typical, I've been friends with them for a long time. I reached out to her, and then a friend of mine who has used me several times. To the friend, I asked her, I said, when you send my name to a client and my information to a client, what do you tell them? And she says, well, I tell them to call Bill, and I send them your phone number. I said, you don't tell them my last name? She said, they don't care what your last name is. She said, you don't tell them what company I work with? And she said, they certainly don't care what company you're with. They asked me, a personal friend who they trust, who their realtor is. And I send your information that way. And then I made a similar call to the person, and I put them on the spot a little bit. I said, I had your listing for 4 or 6 months. And, so my sign was in your front yard. And this is just a pop quiz. It's not to embarrass you. I'm just thinking about making a decision about something. So what company do I work for? And they did not have a clue. So I think companies are important for culture and resource and all of that. But I don't know that they're important to most of the public, at least in our market. And to me, not quite at your level, but I think there were 32,000 agents at EXP worldwide when I joined. It was smaller. It was still a little bit risky. I don't think it's risky anymore. It felt risky. We tell ourselves these stories in our heads. So those calls, I'll never forget those 2 calls. Those were really important and gave me the boost to just make sure, let's try it.
As far as joining EXP, is there anything that you would do differently if you could do it all over again?
The same thing everyone says, I guess, moving earlier, of course. But I don't know. I think everything kind of happens for a reason, and the way that things happen. Yeah. I don't have. I can't think. I mean, obviously, I wish I would have been a little more confident in the model the day I joined. But to me, the way that I process things, I need to make sure that I understand it, can explain it. If I'm going to bring over somebody and jeopardize their family's income on this idea that I have for me to just make a little bit of money off of them, I need to be sure that I truly believe that this isn't going to fall on its face. You know, when I'm bringing over a high producing agent, you only have one chance, and you could ruin your reputation if,
Sure.
if I was selling something, and who knows, Andre, like I could have moved here, realized it was completely awful, and decided that I was going to go start my own brokerage. Well, boy, that would have been terrible to waste the opportunity
Right.
on these relationships I built for 15 years on something that was a flop.
Right. Well, it just shows your integrity, and that's what's cool. Is I love being in business with so many people with integrity. So you thought that kind of in the beginning. Now you've been in the company for several years. How do you feel about sharing the opportunity with people now?
I love sharing it. You know, it's tough to not just spew the excitement and stay organized in your thoughts and make sure that you're listening, to that. And I think back to some of the things that helped me grow my business and the way that this company is set up to help new agents, specifically new to the business agents. I didn't realize right when I started how important agent to agent relationships were, because I thought, that I'm not going to get business from another real estate agent. And that could not have been further from the truth. The way that my business has worked. Cleveland and Akron are 30 minutes away from each other. I lived in Cleveland. I've worked in Akron my whole career. So I drove 30 minutes to my office,
Okay.
not that far, it's 30 miles, but we don't have traffic in Ohio really. But because of that, and I built relationships with the agents in the Akron market, I got all their Cleveland referrals. They didn't want to drive up there. Many of them, the successful ones, but once they got over the commission breath and they felt comfortable passing those along. So that was huge, but also, I was in computers and, there were some older agents and younger as well that just had tech problems. They couldn't figure out how to set up their printer at their house. And I'm chatting with them. I'm like, I'll come over and do that for you. Like, it's no big deal. And those little things, I mean, sometimes they'd pay me for them. Sometimes they wouldn't, it all pays dividends. And why I say that, talking about how I work my business and I have other agents do some work for me. Boy, if I had the opportunity to make $25 to $35 an hour to be trained and be thrown into experiences like Bill told me to go show this house. I'm new to this. I'm nervous about opening the lockbox and all of that. Well, get all your nerves out with my client who I told, hey, this is the person that was available. If you love the house, I'm happy to go back through it with you tomorrow morning. I'm happy to go back through it by myself if you need that level of confidence from that house. My gosh, those opportunities. And I've seen agents in our market that they seem to have 4 or 5 hours of these opportunities that they take like almost every day, so they're making cash, getting trained, getting comfortable, having real estate conversations. And also if they go out with their friends and have a drink, they talk about the nice house that they saw, have a normal conversation, not, do you know anybody who's looking to buy or sell real estate in the next 90 days kind of conversation.
Right.
So it's just, that's exciting to me. When you see people get plugged in at this company, it seems to take off.
I really enjoyed getting to know you, Bill. I've learned, and I hope the people listening have learned as well. This business is all about relationships and taking care of, just taking care and doing the right thing for your clients and your friends. And that's just going to pay a lot of dividends, moving forward. So congratulations on your success, doing 50 plus transactions year after year after year, hitting the Icon Agent Award, and just helping the company grow. I always like to ask at the very end, if you're a movie watcher, what's your favorite, movie, or if you're a book reader, what's your all-time favorite book that you'd like to recommend to the listeners?
Yeah, oftentimes I'm, watching sports, but I think back to like just a classic Shawshank Redemption. I love that, and that penitentiary is about 45 minutes from here where that movie was shot, and I've not yet visited that, but I probably should get down there. And then being an econ major, I really like kind of the modern economics books, not the boring ones, but like the Freakonomics series, the Malcolm Gladwell books. I love that kind of stuff. I was a high school pizza driver. I was a pizza driver in high school, and I listen to music for 10 hours a day. And now I just never listen to music in the car. So it's always podcast, books, or, something to get better.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks again for jumping on our podcast today, Bill. Hey, anyone out there listening in the Ohio area and want to learn more about EXP or talk to Bill, please reach out to him. And of course, EXP is in all 50 states in 25 different countries. So feel free to reach out to me as well if you have any questions. And we'll see you guys at the next Financial Freedom Forever podcast next Wednesday. And Bill, we'll see you in Orlando at our next event.
Yep. Thanks so much.
Have a great day, Bill. Thanks.
Yep. See ya.
Listen to what our business partners are saying about our FFF group.
All right, so the reason I love Triple F is because everybody there that it's able to help me when I need an answer, I can call them, I can message them, and they get back to me. That's why Triple F is the best.
What I love most is that the collaboration here is so contagious, and we're all financially incentivized to help each other grow and be successful. It's each one teach one, and we're here to help each other grow.
What I love about the Financial Freedom Forever group is the collaboration. The wealth of knowledge we can tap into is incredible. I absolutely love is the mentorship and support, nonstop support. You have access to people's calendars that you wouldn't ordinarily have access to that get you further than you are right now.
To get your questions answered and learn more about how to partner with us, go to partnerwithandre.com or simply scan the QR code. Check out the videos, get on my calendar, and let's have a private conversation. See if you might be a good fit for us to work together and help grow your business to the next level.